Hi travelers, good morning. Tara here. It is December 7th and this is going to be a short open reading. Uh, as Mercury retrograde is a real booger bear. Um, show you how Mercury works. Um, Yesterday it got chilly. It rained. It started raining and the temperature dropped here. And my Jeep just stopped running. It's like it's an electrical issue. I don't know what exactly it is. Now I know that I needed a tune-up, right? But of course, Mercury rules moving parts, so things like gadgets, electronics, things of that nature. It's retrograded in the sign of Sagittarius. Mercury rules Gemini, the third house. The third house is short distance travel. It's literally not too far from my house, less than a mile, but also it's not working. So retrograde in the house of Sagittarius means I can't even go any long distance either. So Saturn, wherever Saturn touches, Saturn limits and restricts. Um, I have absolutely no idea what's wrong with it. And the trickster aspect is that, of course, when it turned cold, that's when the car is going to act up. And usually that's when you'll find something out, either when it gets really hot or if it gets cold, and then suddenly something's wrong with your car. And it's just doing a weird thing. It will turn over, so it's not like it's a battery issue. But I don't know if it's a regulator, if it's the alternator. I don't know if it's the ignition switch, but it's something electrical, because while I was in the car waiting, I was on carpool duty yesterday. So while I was in the car waiting for the kids to come out from school, my radio kept shutting off, and then it would reset itself and come back on, and I could hear this clicking. So I know that it's either a fuse, but I got to figure out which fuse it is and where it's located. Jeep got a lot of fuses in it, in different places. So that's how that works. It's that trickster aspect. You know, sometimes there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. I'm going to go a little bit later today to see if I can at least start it and drive it back to the house. If not, I'll have to get somebody to tow me. And the interesting thing is, I just let my AAA membership lapse, right, where they would have towed it for free. But of course, last week. So anyway, for those of you who have purchased readings, I will be getting to those today and sending you the link for download. I do have the 20 for 25 video readings for any of you who might be interested in a video reading. Those are great because you get to download those and save them. If you're interested in booking a reading, you can simply click on that I, and that'll take you directly over to the website. I'm only doing the 20 for 20 videos. You'll see it says December tarot special, and then I'm also offering a $5 discount off on etheric cord cuttings, which for some of you may want to do near the end of the year to help you kind of clear some energy moving into 2018. And I just might offer a special on Akashic Records. I usually do at this time of year. I just want to be cautious that I'm not overwhelmed with a lot of work like I was last year. So let's go ahead and pull 9 cards to see what's happening. Of course, this is general and the reading will not resonate with everyone. That requires a personal reading. Here we go. 3 of Wands, the Judgment card, well, and the Hierophant. Some of you have a major decision to make, perhaps about finances, perhaps about some kind of commitment, but this is, it reads as though it is a value judgment, or the discernment, using your discernment to figure out who and what is most important to you. Page of Swords, the World card. There's Saturn and Pluto. Man, that's coming up here at the end of the year. Saturn will be moving into Capricorn, its ruling sign, where Pluto has been since 2008. Knight of Swords. Wow. 2 messages coming in. And this, let's just see what the rest of the cards say. 9 of Cups, The Moon card. Wow. And the Page of Cups. Isn't that interesting? Ah, and there is the Queen of Coins. Now, normally that would represent an earth sign female or an earth sign individual, because this could be for male or female. The feminine energies are simply those receptive energies, being open to something. So this could be a Taurus, a Virgo, a Capricorn, but it could also be in terms of just a profession, a banker, an accountant, somebody who works in retail and commerce, could also be somebody who works in the hospitality industry. This is where you're going to be dealing with monies or accounts, or at least being responsible for some type of income is not necessarily the word, some kind of resources, financial resources, let's put it that way. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana here, and right down the center I have this hugely impressive major arcana present column. Now, past, present, future, and the interplay of the cards. And you know, this is Pluto, Saturn, and the Moon. Now, the Moon can be about things unseen, okay? The Moon speaks to our emotions. It speaks to the psychological depths. It speaks to our fears. You know, that's where the word lunacy comes from, is the full moon and people just be acting crazy. This is about dealing with something that is coming from deep within, maybe trying to get to the truth or trying to see through something. We do know that when the full moon is out, we can see by the light of the full moon, but things look a little bit differently. Shapes can take on, objects can take on different shapes, making them appear different than what they are. The moon represents women, children, the home, the homeland, the apartment. Traditional astrology, it represents the mothers. The way I always interpret it, it can represent fathers. I mean, the fourth house typically represents mothers. This is what the moon represents. So that's what I was trying to say. The fourth house is ruled by the moon, and it typically represents mothers and children. The way that I interpret it through the astrology is it speaks about men, okay? The fourth house. We see all of this stuff going on here, but in the center we have this World card. And wherever Saturn sits or whatever he touches, he limits and restricts. So this is the idea or the concept that whatever these two messages are, and we see actually there are 4 messages here. Here is the Judgment. Sometimes this can be the news that help is on the way, but this is also the call to a new life or some kind of drastic change. And I always say this is some kind of news coming in or message coming in through the universe. This could also be an issue, a legal issue for some of you. Why I say that? Because the Hierophant represents institutions. So he represents any place there's a hierarchical structure. So we're looking at hospitals, the judicial system, universities, churches. He rules those normal commitments that we have, the normal way of doing things. He represents marriages. He can represent counseling. But because he is represents the sign of, the planet of Venus, this is really about your value system, okay? And I feel that for some of you, you have already determined that you were going to, you know, take a different direction. You have made some kind of decision. And this decision, I think, is predicated on something that has come in for you. Now, the Page of Swords is typically a student of communication, and he's not afraid of getting closer to the truth through his communication. So this could be asking questions, doing research, looking online, talking to other people. Whatever this message is that has come in, it was predicated upon a wish, Okay, and the Nine of Cups is the wish card, and no matter what tarot deck that you use. Okay, um, clarity of thinking. But this card can also be about being smug and acting as though you have it all and you don't need assistance from anybody. That's a negative part of the. So this is about, can be a warning about being braggadocious or being arrogant in some way. But you have those 9 cups. So this tells me that you've reached a place where everything that you have wanted or you have desired or that you wished for, you have in effect accomplished. That doesn't matter how small it is. You know, your successes are personal to you based upon what it is that you're trying to achieve and you're trying to accomplish. And I think for some of you, you have done that. It has come through some type of news or opportunity that has come through. For others of you, whatever this news is, this is help is on the way. And the reason why I say that is that flag, that's a banner, and banners make announcements, but not only do they make announcements, this is the international symbol of the hospital. So this tells me that some kind of help is on the way. However, there's a holdup on that, okay? And it may not be in terms of a timing until we have the new moon in a few weeks. All right. I'm going to take a look at that moon. This tells me in effect that it's going to be what you put your effort into. Okay. Sometimes there are situations that you can't change. And the reason why I say that, it's 4 major arcana out of 5. It tells me that in one respect, you do have more control over this than you realize, but it could be the judgment, the discernment of what is most important, because we see that you've already decided you're going to take a different, you're going to start something new. That's what 3s are. 3s are about the start of something. The 1 says you, that opportunity came in. The 2 says you thought about it, you had options and choices about how you were going to do this. And now 3, you've gotten to the 3 and you're ready to move forward with that. But there's a holdup here. This is what I'm seeing. And we see it here. The message comes through, and then there's a stop. The World card says you're almost at the end of this, at this particular cycle. And that in effect, even though there may be a stop on the situation, that you are protected in this. So I would not worry too much about it. And what's interesting is that it is this cross section here, these X's, because we see that we're standing on the bluff. We're waiting, either waiting for our ship to come in, or we're sending those ships out. And this could be about having to wait for that to travel. Sometimes the World card can be about that, can be about traveling. If not literal travel, then this could be about travel in the mind, but it is associated with whatever your desires and your fighting spirit and your ambition are. I think many of you have determined that you're going to take a new tact, but we see that there's a surprise offer that comes in. Now, for others of you, we have this section here, Venus and Saturn. Venus and Saturn together are kind of funny. They are very, very different energies, but at the same time, they have a lot in common. Venus is an earth sign. Saturn is an earth planet, represents the earth element, as does Saturn. Venus can be all flighty and light and kind of, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, whereas Saturn can be very serious and very somber. Okay, so if this is about a relationship, this could be the idea of, you know, whenever you have any type of relationship, you do need Saturn there. Saturn is the glue that binds you. This is about the commitment. This is about saying, you know, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to give it my 100%, or I'm going to give it my, 50%, whatever the case may be, so that we can move this thing forward. Saturn says it's going to take a while to do it. Venus can be that concept or idea that, one second, my friend just texted me about my Jeep, I think. Oh, great, he can help me. I'm at home. Hold on one second. Okay. This can be about that, really getting clear on your value system, and grounding that energy so that you can achieve whatever it is that you want with the Nine of Cups. Because Venus can be such a fickle energy, you want to be very, very cautious. You see, we see that there's two keys at the base of his feet. So this tells us that there might be some information that hasn't come to us yet. Hold on. Yes, please. You want me to help do that? Oh, yes, please. And so what I see is that here with the Hierophant, there is some kind of event that comes in quite suddenly through a new offer. And maybe this is what the keys are. This is why maybe there's a holdup on whatever this thing is here, is because we're going to have to wait. Why do I say that? This is the Gemini card. Okay. And Gemini is ruled by what? Mercury. He's going to call me in 30 minutes. Great. All right. We do know that Mercury is in retrograde, and in effect, he's riding into a block. See? And they're both, everybody in this row is looking kind of in the same direction, which is back this way. Okay, so something perhaps to do with the past. This could be another offer coming around, or waiting for a past offer to culminate. We do see that here. I want to look at this Hierophant card, because sometimes a Hierophant can be a person who can be very, very dogmatic, can be somebody who is quite rigid in their beliefs and their thinking. But they may have some words of wisdom for you, and we see this. Okay. Something else is definitely coming in behind this new tack that you're taking. Something that I think you're going to be quite pleased with, that may in effect be able to help you move through this particular cycle. I think this is going to be a very frustrating 4 to 6 weeks. And the reason why I say 4 to 6 weeks is because really this Mercury retrograding into Sagittarius, along with Saturn being there. Venus is also in Sagittarius. I think so. Let me check my chart here on my phone. So 1 second. We have North Node, not North Node. We have Mars moving into Scorpio in a few days. Let me check my chart to see what the transits look like today. Just give me a moment. Yeah, Venus, the Sun, Mercury, Saturn is there. Now, where is Venus? Oh, I said Venus. Mars is still in Libra. So that's what we have going on today. It is quite the impressive lineup. Now, how in another way that you can look at this is to see how, when I say what happens on the world stage can affect you on a global level. Our president is a Gemini sun. And yesterday he made the announcement that kind of killed the peace deal, which has been 70 years worth of United States politics. He, in effect, just gifted Jerusalem to the Israeli people. Now, he didn't get anything out of it. But then today, when you wake up, what you see is people are protesting in the streets. And so what, from his perspective, he thought was a good thing, in effect, turned out to be a bad thing. Sagittarius rules foreigners. It rules foreign lands, foreign peoples. It rules the law and legalities. It rules the natural law and or the karmic law. It rules imports and exports, the internet, higher education, religious beliefs, ideals, and philosophies. Well, Gemini rules the third house, and that is about the messenger and the message. And we know that our dear president has a problem with his messaging. But we also know that he has been, his policies have in effect been very limited and very restricting to those that are considered other. And by that, I mean transgender people, gay people, different religious beliefs, different skin tones, different races. So Saturn comes in to kind of be restricted. And you know what's interesting is that he himself represents Saturn. Saturn as a person will typically manifest as an older man, someone who is stuck and rigid in their thinking, but who also acts out of fear. He's 70 years old, and he still lives in the past, or is trying to take us back to, I don't know, what, 1950? Hell, I don't know. But a lot of things are being born out of fear. So this is why you hear the Muslim ban, or the wall being built, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So even though those things may not affect you personally like that, what they will do is affect you in a trickle down kind of a way. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for instance, you had to go travel over someplace for business. Well, everybody's on alert now because we don't know what the hell's going to happen. Let's say that you had business that you were trying to attend to. You wanted to speak to, you were trying to coordinate or collaborate with somebody publishing something. That might be on hold now. It could be problems with the internet, problems with messages coming through, you not receiving the messages that you need, and that's going to affect you in some way, shape, or form. Eventually, it may not. This could mean that for everybody now, all of our gas prices go up. I mean, we know that they go up around Christmas time, but this could really jack them up beyond what we can afford. What happens? Our short distance travel is limited, as is our long distance travel. Flights are going to cost more. Why? Because the airline's going to say, we need more money to put gas in a plane. Okay. So these things will affect you. And this is all occurring across the holiday season. So that's how things can work. Even though, you know, I had somebody come to the site yesterday and say, I don't understand how the Mercury, you know, this is happening. You know, if you just look at the patterns, if you look at what's happening, if you understand what the planet does and what it represents and what house it falls, the house is going to tell you what area of life will be affected. Okay. And even though you may not have any relatives in the Middle East, you may not. Okay. So, you know, that issue may not play out big for you there, but it could definitely affect you in terms of gasoline or travel. Okay. So I want to look at this Hierophant, and I want to look at this Moon card. You know, whatever this thing is, I will tell you this much. Whatever this thing is, it starts small, and there's a slow build to it, and then suddenly, whoosh, it rushes in. Okay? Now, the Page of Swords sometimes is not a very nice person, can be kind of nasty and rude, as can this Knight of Swords. But that's not the energy that I'm picking up. The energy that I'm picking up off of this Page of Swords is one of, in a sense, anxiety. That's really what I'm getting. And there's anxiety because suddenly things are at a standstill. The World card. And what we're trying to do, for some of you, you're literally trying to move through a particular cycle. Now, we know that Saturn in Sagittarius, for those of you who have Sagittarian Sun, Moon, and Rising, Saturn will not be returning back to Sagittarius for another 29 years. That's how that works. So in effect, this could be that. This could be saying, get ready. You're going to have to get real clear on what it is. Some of you may be feeling that shift starting to happen, but we know that nothing's going to happen right now because everything is retrograded. The Gemini card. This Knight of Swords represents Gemini. So this is about early childhood education, pre-K through high school. It's about communities. It's about neighborhoods. It is about siblings. It is about short distance travel, commerce, sales, negotiations, internet messages, text messages, faxes, phone calls, post, the male coming in. Um, there's some kind of tie-in here as well with the nodes that we know are in the true north node is in Leo. The true south node is in Aquarius. So this harkens back to, what is it, 1998, 99, and 2000. What happened back then is reoccurring now. That's why we're saying this Russiagate thing is almost akin to Watergate. It's just different players. So things are making a return. So I want to look at this particular, the Hierophant, because there's something about this Hierophant I can't quite put my finger on. I'm always kind of wary of the Hierophant when he shows up. I do feel that there are three people here. There's three, either, and they're different messages with different. See, we have the 3 wands here. Okay, we have 3 people here. We have 3 people there. There's the Hierophant with the 2 acolytes. We have the 3 court cards. We have the 3 figures here. So this is definitely involving a lot of people. Oh, before I pull these cards, let me see if I can. I only have 2 pip cards here, and that's the 3 of Wands and the 9 of Cups. So let's take a look and see if I can come up with some information about these particular 2 pip. There's the only 2 pip cards I have. I don't know how I got all these windows open. Hold on. Oh man, I think I just closed the one that I needed. Oh crap. Hold on one second. Yay, Mercury retrograde. Okay, here we go. I don't have any repeater numbers. I just have the 2 pages, okay? And that can be different types of messages coming in. One of a logical and one that is emotional. This one is a surprise here. And I always say that because that fish popping out of the cup there, that's kind of an odd thing. 2 pages. I don't get the 2 pages, and I'm just telling you, I think it's 2 different types of messages, okay? And that's why perhaps the moon is here. With many other court, you know, that it's many implies that many people are involved in the situation. We that's apparent to us. There's some kind of bringing together of these 2 things. Let me go to the 3 of Wands. Let's see if we can see it in relation to the Judgment and the World card, okay? What extra messages are here, if any? None. Now let's look at the 9 of Cups, and that's interesting. And I think that there's a message with the 9 of Cups next to the moon. I'm not exactly sure, but let's take a look. It's not necessarily surrounded by major. Okay, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. Now it says that the 9 of Cups also suggests that success depends upon your motivation and enthusiasm. You are asked to allow old conditions and outmoded ideas to transform into new ones. Old ways of thinking, old ways of doing, towing the line in some way, shape, or form. I mean, there's nothing else for me to look at here. So let's definite movement, but we're going something related to the past. But that's on a standstill right now. So let's look at this Hierophant here. This is Jupiter in Pisces. That card represents the energy of Jupiter in Pisces. Abundance coming in some way, shape, or form. Well, remember I said it's definitely messages. We see them all over the place. For some of you, this has to do with a situation involving friends and or family. I think this is highly significant that the safe has come out on top of the Hierophant. The Hierophant is ruled by the sign of Taurus. Taurus represents your personal finances, your bank account, your movable possessions, your 401ks, your property that you own, your businesses, your charities that you have to deal with. And it's also about your values. There we see a letter coming in. Now, this letter, I have no clue or idea what this letter is, but I definitely say that it is related to this new project or this new thing that you're trying to get off the ground. We see that for some of you, maybe you are waiting to hear from that. Maybe this is about some kind of investment, but it's weird because there are no coins in this spread. None. Okay? So for some of you, there may be some kind of offer that may be coming through for you where you're going to have to determine or discern what is the intrinsic value of it for you. Is it the financial side? And if so, are you going to have to sell your soul to gain that? You know, that's a personal decision. Let's take a look at this moon card. I'm going to do the inverted pyramid here. I'm going to look at that Three of Wands. Definitely some kind of negotiations or business deals and travel perhaps involved. Wow. Isn't this something? You know, and as professions, these swords people can be soldiers, doctors, lawyers, dentists, writers, someone who either is a very decisive person or who may use sharp instruments, could be a chef even. Because what I have here is the reunione. This is the meeting. Not only the meeting, but it could also be about a job interview. The doctore, which in effect is the counselor or the person who heals or the person who nurtures, someone who helps and assists, okay? And as a profession, he's going to be a professional type of an individual. And it's the l'amante, male lover, requited love. Now, as I said, this could be same-sex or heterosexual. This could literally be unbeknownst to you. There's someone coming in. That person might be of a medical profession or some kind of a professional type of individual. This could be the idea or the concept that you might meet somebody. I mean, requited love. There is no other way to. That's like another page of cups. Okay, that's another page of cups. So this could be unbeknownst to you, somebody coming in who does bring you an offer. Maybe the idea or the concept of maybe that person is younger than you. Maybe that might have to do with the value system. There are no Sagittarian cards here. That's what's so interesting to me. Let's look at this Three of Wands. And right now, everything's on a slowdown. You know, and I'm going to tell you something. You know, delays suck. You know, but if it's beyond your control, what are you going to do about it? You can't control life's circumstances. You can only control how you react to those, right? And that's kind of the message, the underlying message, I think, of this particular spread. We've got the 4 major arcana. So this tells me that something huge is trying to happen. There's some other stuff being worked out. But in the meantime, the conditions are not right. So what do you do if the conditions are not right? You focus on something else and you wait. You wait until the conditions are more favorable. Indeed. And what we are looking at is perhaps some of you moved ahead too quickly, stupid actions and stupid behavior. And what that has done, whatever this project or this joining of forces together, whatever has happened here, we see that the communication has stopped. Okay, there's no communication. So now you have a choice of whether, well, you know what, I can't wait around for that person. I'm just going to go ahead and do what I'm going to do. Okay. But then we see the fidelità. So there's some kind, there's still that Venus Saturn, there's still a bond there. And I think that whatever this thing is, there is going to be, it is going to come to fruition. It's just the conditions are not right. This is not the right time. It's not. The time is coming. And as I say, around that full moon. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry, that new moon. And if I'm not mistaken, the new moon is going to be somewhere right before, let me look at my app. Right before the these planets move. So let me see. We just had the full moon just a few days ago. And it was in, I'm going to tell you, it was in Gemini. A lot of crap happening across Gemini. Now, I think the new moon occurs December 18th. It will be going from Sagittarius into Capricorn. So the moon is, that's the timing. The moon is ushering in this new phase for you, this new cycle, because 2 to 3 days after the new moon moves into Capricorn, Saturn moves into Capricorn, Mercury rules into Capricorn. I'm not exactly sure if even Venus will be there. Let me go back to my app. And this could be what the cards are trying to tell us in a roundabout kind of way. Let me go. Do I have weeks? No, not years. So let me go back and edit this so I can just do it quickly. What am I trying to do? I don't even know. We're going to look at December 18th. I'm going to change the date on this, okay? So I can see if Venus is also moving into, okay, so on December 18th, the moon will be moving 0 Capricorn. Now, pay attention because this is quite interesting. In Sagittarius, there will be Mercury retrograde. There will be Venus. The sun will still be there. And Saturn will still be there. And Saturn will be sitting at 29 degrees. Sagittarius. And the 29 degree is a very, very important degree. It's a critical degree. It's the last degree that a planet sits in before it moves into another sign. And then Saturn moves 0 Capricorn on December 20th. Wow, that's going to be interesting. Go back because and then on the 22nd, Mercury will be sitting at 13 degrees retrograde Sagittarius. It's going to make a big jump, just a leap all of a sudden on the 23rd. It stations direct. It will stay there. And then, hold on, I'm going to tell you when. This is going to move all the way out to January 10th, I do believe. It's January 9th. January 10th, it's 29 degrees Sagittarius, and then on the 11th, it will move into Capricorn. And in Capricorn, we will have, this is going to be huge. There's Pluto, there's Saturn, there's Venus. We will have on January 11th, Mercury at 0 degrees Capricorn, Saturn at 2 degrees Capricorn, Pluto will finally have moved from its 17-degree mark and will be at 19 degrees Capricorn. The sun will be conjunct Venus at 21 degrees Capricorn. So this is huge major movements. So what this is telling me, people, is that for those of you who have been kind of, oh shit, man, I'm never going to get through this, find something else to do, focus something else, use your discernment about what is most important to you at this time while you're waiting to move through this. I don't see anything negative here. That does not mean, you know, that's not going to be for everybody. You know, that requires not only a personal reading, but a good look at your chart and what it is that you're struggling with. So I think what you're being asked to do is to remain optimistic, to remain focused no matter what turn of events come about, and know that this will pass. It's going to seem like it's going to take forever, but it will pass quicker than you think. And you want to be ready on that other side to go ahead and move through with your plans. For some of you, this might be a brand new relationship coming in out of the blue. And right now, things are kind of shaky. Maybe the person hasn't even arrived yet. What do I know? It's telling you to choose a new direction. And that's what that Three of Wands was saying right at the top. You know, I think some of you are ready. Maybe you're a bit hesitant. You're a bit afraid. Maybe you're waiting on, you know, other information. Prepare yourself to take that new direction. Just because you don't have all of the information doesn't mean that you can't do small things to help kind of still move you through. Okay. It says the time has come to choose a new direction for your life. The circumstances that you find yourself living in may seem unfulfilling, or perhaps your heart is full of discontent. You know that there is something more out in the world for you, and you've been procrastinating following the guidance of your angels. Make a conscious choice to be the person you are meant to be. Create an action plan for yourself that leads you in the direction of your divine life purpose. Begin by taking steps immediately towards a happier future. And that's really it. So that's what I have for you, travelers. I hope that that message helped. And now I've got to go get ready to tow my Jeep back to the crib. So until next time, namaste.